You're watching Masters in Trading Live with Jonathan Rose.
Hey guys, it's Jonathan Rose, and we have a very exciting show for you planned today. Vid on. We're live. Guys, Jonathan Rose. I've done nothing but trade throughout my 27-year professional career, and now I hop on every single day to try to add as much value to you as I possibly can. In Chicago, I've traded at all the biggest exchanges, the Chicago Board of Trade. I learned how to trade options at the Chicago Board Options Exchange, and then I traded futures at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Again, get on here every day. I got the chat open. We usually get on a little bit early, say good morning to everybody, and again, just try to add as much value as we possibly can. So today's show, I got a famous Wayne Gretzky quote that I want to start out with. I want to talk about the difference between anticipating trades and reacting to trades. We just announced the brand new Masters in Trading Challenge. I got a link for you guys. I want you to go and watch that video because before I got on the floor of the Chicago Board Options Exchange, I thought I understood how to trade options, but it wasn't until the lessons that I learned on the floor to follow the big money until I really got comfortable trading options. So in our MITC Challenge video, our Masters in Trading Challenge video, that's what we talk about, how to get in front of those big money tells. Let me go to the screen. We're going to have a lot of fun in this one. We've seen this quote almost to the point that it's cliche. Wayne Gretzky says, skate to where the puck is going, not to where it has been. Really great lessons for life, right? For business, for sport. But what I found, great for hockey, good for business too. Not so great for trading. And I want to explain what I mean by this. If we skate to where the puck is going, that's speculating. That's guessing. That's trying to figure out where the NASDAQ's going to be trading a year from now or 2 years from now. Instead of anticipating, we react to the market, that's where I think you'll find a lot more success. So that's what I want to walk you through. How do we react as opposed to anticipating? Anticipating sounds sexy. It sounds like what we should be doing. It sounds smart, but it's not. I want you to think differently. I don't want you to anticipate where the puck is going. I want you to react to where the puck is going. And I'm going to walk you through 3 or 4 different examples because this is how I trade and this is exactly how we're going to teach you in that mastersthandtrading.com Take the Challenge. So here we go. Yesterday, these were the top stories, okay? Top stories. Boom. The main story right now, China and the US are talking about the fight over rare earth minerals, right? Rare earth shortages could cause pandemic-era disruptions. Trump says US gets rare earth minerals from China in trade deal. So rare earth minerals, China's been holding this back from the US. Obviously, rare earth minerals are great for electric vehicles, etc. Yesterday, I'm sitting in front of my computer and I see some unusual trading activity. Unusual options activity. Again, that's exactly what we're going to teach you. Take the challenge. Watch those videos. Very, very important. MP is a rare earth company. And looking at data from June 2nd to June 10th, there's been $5.8 million worth of call buying and less than 100,000 of puts, right? So all calls. Buying calls, trading calls in MP. Now, when we see something like this, and maybe somebody tells you, hey, there's 6 million calls trading and only 100,000 puts trading. Most people would defer to saying, oh, that's got to be bullish. When they trade calls, that's got to be bullish. But it's not. Institutions do these big trades, but they're trying to hide what their intention is. So all these trades that were done yesterday, and they were done, a huge amount of them were done yesterday to the tune of about $1 million traded yesterday. Well, the thing is, here's the trading behavior of yesterday, the 1 minute. All those trades that were done yesterday were not bullish. They were bearish. If you want to learn how to figure out whether an option trade is bullish or bearish, head over to the link, guys. masterthantrading.com/take the challenge. Again, this is brand new, and you'll see why calls are not always bullish. You'll see this perfect trade example. So watch. We see this trade in rare earth minerals. We know that the top stories are China and US negotiating over rare earth minerals, right? So how can we're not anticipating, how do we react to the news? Well, for one, there's going to be uncertainty in the rare earth mineral stocks. I had to look up and say, do we even have any rare earth mineral stocks? The answer is yeah, we do. There are 2 tradable rare earth companies in the US. You have one, USA Rare Earth Inc. And then you have 2, MP. MP is this one where we had all of that unusual options activity. All of that $6 million in calls that were trading. Those calls, they were trying to trick you. Those weren't bullish. They were bearish. Next chart. Oh, why'd I circle this? That's April 2nd. April 2nd was Liberation Day, right? Well, USAR was trading $6 April 2nd. It went up to trade 18. After China said, we're not going to give you any of your minerals because you did your Liberation Day, fine. We're going to cut off minerals to you. Okay? Keep on going. Here's MP. Here's our expected move tool. And what do we see? MP is trading outside of its expected move. It trades inside of its expected move 75% of the time. Boom. So now, I know the big news of the day is US and China are negotiating, jousting about these rare earth minerals. MP is a way that we can trade these rare earth minerals in the US. MP is also outside of its expected move. MP also has a ton of unusual options activity. So with all that being said, that's when I shared a trade and said, you know what? I'm not going to anticipate what's going to happen. I'm going to react. And I'm going to react because I know that China and US are meeting. I know that these companies have 2x'd since Liberation Day. It also feels like China's coming back to the table. That's why we shared a trade. And literally, guys, in one day, MP goes from 27 to 23.50 in one day. Boom. James, give you a little glockenspiel. James was able to lock in $13,500 in one night. The only problem with this trade, my guy got in a little late. So he only got a 48% return. But that's okay because other members did great. Don here, excellent trade. I want more of these, please. Got in at 2 out of 310. Jay, great trade. Pretty good. I missed the top, but I got 70%. Saul, 77%. And Dono here in at $1.90 out of 346. Trades that work like MP are really satisfying. Again, notice how it comes back in to its expected move. This is a very, very, very straightforward trade. I wanted to go back and walk you through exactly how I found that trade. If I'm going to walk you through it again, and again, we teach you this in the mastersinTrading.com, take the challenge. The first step, what's the news? News is China and US are negotiating. Second step, looking for unusual options activity. Wow, 6 million calls traded at MP. They want you to think it's calls, but it's not. If you buy calls and sell stock simultaneously, you're actually getting long a put. That's what they did in MP. The next step, sharing a trade with a fixed amount of risk. Guys, I like this trade. $2 per contract, $1.70 per contract. You can never lose more. And in 24 hours, many of us were able to get up 50%, 75%. So, bravo. That is how you react to a trade. That's not how you anticipate where the trade's going. Does that make sense, guys? That is exactly how I found this trade and why we would do the exact same thing again. It just makes so much sense. So hopefully I get a show of hands. That makes sense? Hands. Good. Yeah. Ernie, thank you, bud. Fascinating perspective, JR. Reacting rather than anticipating. That's exactly true, guys. Don't anticipate. The trade that we did is we just bought some calls in MP. Bought some puts in MP. Super easy. I'm going to go give you here's some more. Rusty sold 350, 84% overnight. Sol, 19,250% annualized. In at $1.85, added 331. Mike, 63%. But again, I want you to understand why. This trade is not about luck. We weren't guessing or anticipating. We are reacting to something that actually happened in the market. Let me go through a few more examples because I want to show you some more examples of reacting and not anticipating. RXRX. This is an AI drug maker. AI drugs. Okay? It's got some buzzwords in there. RXRX. Again, we saw 19,000 options trade. We saw 19,000 options trade on the $5 strike. Once we see 19,000 option trades, did you realize that 19,000 options, once they're in the money, somebody is long 1.9 million shares of stock. So when we see something like that, we react. And for RXRX, we reacted by getting long the stock. Let me just pull this up so you can see after the trade what RXRX did. Yeah, I've been thinking about this more and more. It's like sexy for people to say that they anticipate and they speculate where things are going. Throughout my entire career, guys, I react. Once we see the unusual option activity, that's the tell that something is happening. I let Goldman Sachs speculate where the heck RXRX is really going. I want to wait on the sidelines and react. So that's what we did with RXRX, ripping higher, 5, trades up to 650 really quickly. Here's a trade I've been talking about quite a bit. Quixo. QXO. If you've been watching the program, can I get some yeses? Are you in Quixo? Just so people watch back, they can see that everybody's in Quixo. QXO. Again, I'm showing you this because I want you to see how we react. We don't anticipate. Okay, you see everybody's in this trade. Yes. We shared QXO in the free portfolio. So watch. Full disclosure, before I shared this name, I never even heard of QXO. I never heard of it. So look what happens. The QXO story. QXO launched in 2024 to consolidate the $800 billion building products distribution industry. I found this trade because I was looking at Affinity Partners investments. I know that Kushner is a big owner or partner, it's his private equity fund in Affinity Partners, so I'm always watching to see what they do. Obviously, close ties to the president. Once I found this story that QXO was being invested in by Kushner and that Brad Jacobs was the founder. I know Brad Jacobs because he's been involved with many other public companies. That's when I shared the trade. That's why we're long QXO. This is actually one of my favorite trades right now. Let me just close this up. But again, I want you to show that we found this because I found the news, and then after that, I was reactive. Again, I didn't anticipate that QXO would just go to the moon. No, the reason I got in and the reason I shared this with the guys is because it's got some wind behind its sails. Okay? Again, masterthetrading.com, take the challenge. These are the big money tells that we get in front of. QXO, obviously some massive, massive money going into this name. What else? What about GameStop? GameStop we shared a couple of weeks ago. And if we look at GameStop's down a little bit after earnings. We had a really, really nice trade that we got in because we were reactive. And we were reactive to GameStop raising money at $32.50. Once GameStop raised money at $32.50, that was the reason that we got into the trade. Okay? Richard says QXO took a few weeks to catch on, and game is only a play on Bitcoin. Richard, we're going to agree to disagree with those comments. QXO, things work when things work. We are extremely bullish QXO. We are staying long QXO. And as far as it might take a little bit to work, these will work when they work. That's something that we don't have control over, right? Trades will work when trades will work. But what we do want to do, guys, the big takeaway, I'm going to come back to the main, Wayne Gretzky. This has been an enormous difference throughout my career of what I see a lot of other traders doing. We don't want to skate to the puck in trading. Instead, we want to see what happens and we want to react. That's how I've been able to be successful throughout my career. So check out the link, masterthetrading.com/take the challenge. For everybody else, everybody in our paid all access, I'm going to jump into that. We're going to talk to that community. Roger, we'll talk about that in our all access. Okay? Oh, Richard, all good, my man. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with me. Make sure you watch masterthetrading.com/take the challenge. I'll see you guys live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Everybody in all access, you guys sit tight. We'll be right back.